Hello friends, I am once again in front of you with a fresh video and new topic. So, I am going to discuss with you the concept of health. Health is the only factor or only variable in human life that whole activities, including your physical or mental activities, your goals, your ideas, everything is centered on the health. If health is okay, everything is okay. So, what is health? What it connotes? Dear friends, if you look to the internet, thousands of volumes of data is available on the internet regarding health. You can find millions of books written on the health, where researchers, physicians, psychologists, and various other individuals, health workers are busy with only one concept, so that the health of human being is that is remains optimal and good. Health is very important for development of society and development of whole human being. But what actually this health means? What is the concept behind this health? So, without wasting much time, let us start the concept of health. In this video, I'll cover introductory part of the health and Indian viewpoint on the health. Then we'll go for the four concepts of, you call it the major concepts or philosophical schools of thought, what they think about health, or how they define health, and finally we'll discuss certain dimensions of health. So this video is short and only concerned with these aspects, that is concept of health. Health. This image very well depicts the various dimensions, meaning and concepts of health. Now, when you move to the Indian viewpoint and introductory part, in Sanskrit, the Sanskrit is God's language, is known as the ancient language of Indian subcontinent. What it define health, how it define health is the Sanskrit health defines in a certain way, that is swasth. Swasth means established in oneself, means you are connected and established with your own self. It doesn't connote the meaning that is in Sanskrit that you are physically fit or mentally fit or spiritually fit. No, the only main focus on meaning of health in Sanskrit language is swastha, that is we are connected with our own self, we are aware of our own self, who we are, we know this, or we are, once we are established in ourselves, that is you call it as a swasth. India's most famous poet states that the body should be viewed as the primary instrument for attaining moksha, the ultimate point of purpose of human being. There is a one most famous health system practice in India is known as Ayurveda, or this is also known as science of longevity. That science has substantiated that the major goal of individual life is to attain a best and optimal health. The ancient Indian health system revolves around three body humors, that is Vat, Pitta and Kapha. The health is the subset of balance among these three dosas. So let me make it very clear, dear friends. There are three dosas as described by the Ayurveda system, that is Vat, Pitta and Kapha. When an individual is able to maintain a balance between these three dosas, that means individual is established in oneself and is individual is whole healthy. The optimal point and the best point is to maintain a balance between these three dosas or body humors. The Indian system, traditional system, doesn't look for the symptoms, though symptoms are very important to diagnose and to assess what from which problem individual is suffering from. Dear friends, the Indian viewpoint regarding health was patient as well as disease oriented. How to remove the disease from the roots so that this may not occur with the same individual once again. That is the viewpoint. That treating the symptoms is there may be separate thing, but this is not the viewpoint or the Indian trading system that is focused about the health. Good health is the natural condition of human body. This is the system. Once you are healthy, this means this is your natural condition. That there is a deviance from this condition is known as, there is a concept known as illness, which I am going to discuss in the next video. One important point I am going to tell you is health is a part of our evolutionary process towards divinity. Means when we have to reach towards the divinity, when we have to connect with the supreme, then that to reach that condition, health is a very important component. Yogi Swat Marma suggests that, see how he defines the aspects of your health. That is first point. He said slimness of body, luster on face, clarity of voice, brightness of eyes, freedom from disease, stimulation of gastric heat, and purification of subtle energy channels are the marks of success in Hatha Yoga. This has been clearly written in Hatha Yoga Pradipika. So that yogi suggests that these are the components which indicates the individual is moving towards success in Hatha Yoga. So if individual maintain this, so now, because health is not a single word, it is a comprehensive concept and subset of various ingredients such as food, mental state, and environment. These are the three important points around which this health moves. Thiruvalur, the great saint point of Tamil literature and Tamil Nadu, has very well said on eating, that is directly related to that is your health. He who eats after the previous meal has been digested needs not any medicine in his lifetime. Written in Tirukural, it's a very important book. You must read it. And the famous definition of health is given by the World Health Organization. You can very well read it. That is, it said that health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. You can read it several times, thousands of times it has been cited, and there is no need to explain it. Now let us move to the concept of health from the psychological viewpoint. Mental health may include an individual's ability to enjoy life. See, I'm talking about the mental health from the health concept from the psychological viewpoint, to create a balance between life activities and efforts to achieve psychological resilience. Here, one point needs to be explained in your context is that is resilience. Resilience means bouncing back. It means if you are suffering from any infirmity or disease, from bouncing back and achieving your previous state is known as resilience. That can be achieved through various components. I'm not going to discuss this point here, but psychological resilience means you must be psychologically tough to face the health issues. Now, I had already discussed the definition of health in terms of WHO. Here again, I am going to discuss the mental health, how WHO has defined this point, that is mental health. What is that? Mental health as subjective well-being, perceived self-efficacy, autonomy, competence, intergenerational dependence, and self-actualization of one's intellectual and emotional potential, among others. See, these are the various points which has been discussed and said by the WHO regarding mental health. Means subjective well-being, the well-being what you feel yourself, that is subjective. What others see you is not the concept here. How you feel yourself, that is not subjective well-being. This is a very narrow definition I am defining of subjective well-being. How you perceive yourself, how you are efficient enough to deal with the challenges of the life, these are the points which comes under the mental health. And This is the way psychological viewpoint sees health. That is focused on your mental concept. Then environmental concept of health. This is another important concept. It is the dynamic equilibrium between man and his environment. This is the only point that environment concept what says this, that one individual is able to maintain a balance or dynamic, that is moving equilibrium between environment and self. If that is the case, the individual is healthy. This environmental concept explained like this. This model, that is environmental model, defines that disease occurs due to failure in adaptation and adjustment to the environment. The model is based on the assumption that to be healthy, human being must have a harmonious relationship with physical environment. This is the point environmental concept defines, that we have to be adapted and adjusted with our immediate environment. Once we are adjusted and adapted, we are healthy. But vice versa is also true. If we are not able to adjust it or adapt it, then we may face disease and a problem. That is the root cause of the problem as per this model. Let us move to the next. Biomedical concept of health. It refers to a state where individual is not suffering from an illness, infirmity or disease. This model only focuses on only one point, one direction. That is, if you are not suffering from any disease or infirmity, certainly you are healthy. That disease may be of any kind. This concept defines that physical well-being, when an individual can perform day-to-day activities accurately or perfectly. So, if you are able to do your activities perfectly, this means this model assumes that you are healthy. This health considers two important points, that is your regular physical exercises and nutrition. If these two are maintained properly, your physical health will be fine. This model explains this. So, what are the areas where this model focus are? Physical processes in your body. What are the physical processes going on? Your digestive system, your respiratory system, everything, how they are going on. Your pathology, biochemistry and physiology of a disease. These are the 3 points around which this biomedical concept revolves. Your pathology, biochemistry and physiology. It does not take into account the role of social factors or individual subjectivity. Means there is no role of social factors in health or individual subjectivity. How you feel about health, there is no role as per this model. So dear friends, this was your biomedical concept of health, and the last concept in this video we are discussing is holistic concept of health. This has a different viewpoint. It considers the person as a whole and how he or she interacts with his or environment. The main point here is that individual is being considered as a whole, and how that whole interacts with the immediate environment. That may be your physical environment, social environment or psychological environment. That's different thing. And the 3 important components of this model are mind, body and spirit. So this model explains that if you have a better equilibrium between all these 3, that is mind, body and spirit, you will be healthy. There is no other point. This goal assumes that maximum well-being, where everything is functioning at very best, that is the only point where individual can be considered as healthy. And what is the base of this model? The base of this model is laws of the nature. What does this say? Laws. It explains that the nature's laws are the important point where whole is made up of interdependent parts, means separate parts combined together and design a new thing, that is whole. So this is the base on which holistic concept of health is standing or explaining viewpoint. Now let us move to the what are the dimensions of health. Let us start. First is your mental dimension. What does this dimension explains? Cognitive functional fitness. That is ability to do cognitive functions appropriately, accurately, or perfectly, or as per your requirement. If that is the case, that is the mental dimension. Second is physical dimension. Similar case, functional and structural fitness of the body. If your body is functionally and structurally fit, that is your physical dimension. That is ability to do physical functions optimally and perfectly. Social dimension, what does it explains? The ability to maintain quality interpersonal relations with social setup. The area, the society in which you are living. In that case, when you are able to maintain the relationships, that to be quality relationships, that is your social dimension of your health. Emotional, though it comes under mental or psychological, but it is a very emotions play a very important role in maintaining your health. So it has been given separate space in the dimension concept of health. The ability to control emotions, resilience in troubling situations, and ability to build strong and lasting relationships. This is the emotional concept or emotional dimension explains about the health. In other words, it is the ability to accept and cope with our own and others' feelings. That is a technical word, a term has been used for this definition. That is, it is the ability to accept and cope up with our own and others' feelings. That is known as empathy. Means when we are able to accept our own feelings or emotions and cope with them. Similar the case when we feel others' emotions also. That means we are high on empathy. This is a very important dimension of health. The doctors are expected to have high level of empathy so that they can treat the physical illness. Similar the case with the psychological, clinical psychologist, they should also have high level of empathy so that they can understand and feel the problem of the patient and can suggest the required remedy or treatment. And the last dimension is spiritual dimension. Indian traditional literature has focused on this dimension in large volume of literature. It refers to our personal beliefs, how we believe system and values that helps in defining self and determining the purpose of life. Indian philosophy emphasized that the purpose of human life is to attain moksha or nirvana. It is balancing of drives, motives, and needs. Dear friends, the word moksha earlier also I explained. So here in context of health, what moksha and nirvana is when you are able to balance your drives, motives, and needs in a better way. That is self moksha. Means you have control about your drives, your control over your motives, and your control over your needs. In other way, you have control over your senses, and that what is that? That's a kind of mox where you don't feel any type of stress, tension, problem, or disease that may be physical or psychological. What is that? It's a kind of mox. It's not that some big thing will come and you will go and attach with that thing, and that is I'm not talking about that thing. That is beyond the scope of this video and the subject too. The way what actual moksha or nirvana is, where Indian traditional literature talks about is when you are able to maintain a best balance and dimension that is your between the drives, motives, and needs. That is your means a quality equilibrium. Only spiritual dimension. So, dear friends, these were concept of health. We defined Indian point of view, introductory part. Then we go on for the four major concept and five dimension of health. This is the references from where I've taken. You can cross check them. And our next video will be concept of illness, just opposite to it. We'll be discussing the next video. By the time, thanks, and we'll meet you soon with the next video with best explanation and best notes, dear friends. By the time, if you have any suggestion or comment, you can post me in the comment box or you can write me at vermasujit at the rate of yahoo.com. One important thing, if you like this video or its contents, you can share with your friends. But if you don't like or dislike it, at some point or certain thing which I spoken, kindly, this is my humble request, share with me. I will be more than happy than your good comments. Or So never forget it. You may not share with your friends, but kindly share with me whatever thing you doesn't like with this video. By the time, thank you very much for watching this video.